Welcome to Big Drive Energy. That's not an Irish accent. Maybe a little more Irish there. We are going to talk all about the Open Championship at Royal Portrush today. We're also going to get into a little bit of recap of the Nick Tarnasky situation, the fight on the golf course, Grant Horvat turning down a PGA Tour event, Wyndham Clark and Oakmont are no longer a thing, no longer pals, unless some anger management classes are taken. Then we're going to have the weather report. We're going to have our favorite pairings. We're going to have our picks to win and everything you need to know about the final major of the year. I can't believe we're already here.
Bummer.
Final major of 2025, the 2025 Open Championship at Royal Portrush. And it all starts in 30 seconds. All right, let's Big Drive Energy Wednesday before a major. We love to see it, although I cannot believe the last major of 2025 is already here. Like, what are we doing?
It is kind of a bummer. Spencer, before we move forward, I want you to just check and make sure that your mic is on and it's not your computer audio, because I feel like there's a chance it's your computer. But yeah, I am very bummed that
It's definitely my mic, champ.
Oh, okay. Very good. I just want to make sure. Major season's too short. It comes and goes too quickly. I guess that means that football is that much closer, which if you watch the show, you know we love football season more than we love almost anything besides major season, besides golf season. Oh, yeah, get those shades on. But yeah, I'm just kind of bummed out that it's already the last major of the year. I do have to tell you, it was funny because the time change, I feel like part of the reason why they do the Scottish Open now is just so people can get used to watching golf earlier and getting ramped up for a week, so they're just not thrown into the fire of trying to wake up in the middle of the night to watch a major championship. But at first, I saw people tweeting about the morning wave versus the afternoon wave, because I guess the afternoon wave on Thursday tomorrow is supposed to have the advantage because I guess the weather tomorrow morning is going to be rough. And then I looked at my players that I've already bet on, and I'm like, fuck, they tee off at like 9:30, 9:45, and 9:54. I was like, God damn it. All my guys are going off in the morning. And then I realized that was my time. So it's actually like 5 or 6 hours later. So they're all in the afternoon on Thursday. So I'm like, fuck yeah. When I realized that, I remembered the time change. And so now I'm back in on all my players. I already bet them. So the hands off the chess piece at this point. But let's get into a little bit of our golf the last week and a half, because we're kind of ramping up for your member guests. We've probably talked about it too much on this podcast, but I think it's fun. I think the anticipation is great. And I've kind of realized that I haven't practiced that much. But also I'm kind of the one that has to find the sweet spot of, if I play too much, I'm going to hurt my hand, because my thumb injury that I had years ago is still around. If I play too much golf, my hand will start to just hurt like an MF, and that sucks. Like, there's definitely diminishing returns for me. So I want to make sure I'm practicing, but I also don't want to practice too much. But I think Missy and I are getting out for a little Twilight Niner this evening at North Jersey Country Club. Are you watching a video over there? What are you doing, Champion?
I was trying to repost our video.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Oops.
We got viewers.
Jesus.
So I'm playing a little bit today. I think we're playing on Saturday, so that's good. But other than that, I might try to go hit balls one time, and then we have the practice round next Wednesday. I played a golf course last week. It was right after we I think we did the pod. I forget what day we did the pod. Did we do it last Wednesday?
Yeah, we did it on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't know if we talked. I don't think we talked about my round, but we played this place called Eagle Ridge, and actually a very cool course out here in Jersey. It's kind of down the shore ish, but kind of a dune style course. But dude, these fairways, I legit lost like 5 or 6 balls. So yesterday I was down at the Rose. I had some lessons, and so I had some time in between a few lessons. So I was going out on the course and filling some divots. That's my favorite pastime. But then also hitting some short game shots like around the greens, practicing a little bit. And I legitimately, you know how you always have a few stragglers in your bag of just random golf balls? Like they could be old ones that you never lost or whatever. I legitimately had no golf balls in my bag. I emptied out my entire bag at Eagle Ridge, all my stragglers that I had in there. That course was cool, but it was also very stupid because you could not see. A lot of the shots were blind. I had no idea. And when you play a golf course for the first time where not all your shots, but a lot of your shots are blind shots, there's nothing worse than that, just because you feel like you have no conviction. You're not able to commit to any sort of target because you have no fucking clue where you're aiming. So I struggled pretty good at Eagle Ridge last week. But then I also forgot to, I mentioned I cut my thumb. So my thumb is now healed up. So that's ideal. It doesn't hurt because that shit sucked. But other than that, I really haven't. I've practiced a little bit, practiced some short game shots. I need to get to the range, but I also don't want to hurt myself. So hopefully we can get out to the course a little early today and I can hit a few balls. I have heard things about North Jersey Country Club. I've heard very good things. So looking forward to getting out there and playing a little bit of golf. But give us your rundown on yesterday's round with your little like 2-ball.
Yeah, so I played yesterday, and I was supposed to play with just one other guy from my golf course, and he bailed. So it was just me, and I was behind a threesome, and I was like, oh, I'll catch up to them. And then I was like, no, this is the perfect opportunity for me to just walk 18 holes. It was a little too hot to be walking, but I didn't bail. Burned 2,600 calories, according to my handy-dandy Apple Watch. So happy about that.
That's a lot.
Hoofed it with my my TaylorMade ultralight bag. Is no free shout outs, but it's the best walking bag by a mile. And it has the little mini legs that I can just set it down, grab the club out. But no, I started by playing just one ball, and then I was waiting too long on the tee boxes, just watching these kids in front of me and this older dude kind of hack it around. So I was like, all right, I'm going to start playing 2 balls. Did a little content with a player A, player B, which turned out to be pretty funny and ironic, but then kind of played 2 balls the rest of the way, at least through the front 9. And then I got joined by 2 older dudes for 10 and 11, just 10 and 11, because they skipped around some holes. So they wanted to go back and play those 2, just members. They've been members at the course since I was born. So they've been there a long time. And then just played the rest of the round by myself. But it was actually kind of nice because the insane thing, and I think I've said it a few times, we're not private club kids. We're just not. We didn't grow up that way. But I felt like yesterday's round took forever. Walking by myself. Now I'm by myself. I get it. But I felt like the kids in front of me were fucking dilly-dallying and just like taking way too long, hitting too many bad shots. I walked 8. Guess how long it took me to walk 18?
3 hours and 45 minutes.
3:57. So close. Okay. Yeah. And it felt
under
like
4 hours. Yeah, that's that. And like you said, by yourself, that's a different story, but still, that's under 4 hours anywhere, anytime is pretty fucking good.
Yeah. And we, for the member guest preparations, we got a green book for Inverness Golf Club, which I'm pretty hyped about. I did some studying on it the other day. But I forgot it yesterday, which made me bummed because that would have been the perfect time. Because I don't know, maybe you can set me straight here. And I don't know if I'm going to play another round at Inverness before our practice round. But like, would it be weird if I played with somebody else and busted out a green book in just like a casual Wednesday round or Tuesday round like I played yesterday? I feel like people would be like, the fuck is this guy's problem?
I mean, it's definitely a bit of a try hard move, but at the same time, it's preparation for the member guest. You're not just grinding on a green book to shoot 84 on a Saturday afternoon. Like there's a difference. So you are going to look like a dickhead, but you just have to accept that. I think you're pretty good at accepting that anyways. And just roll with it, get the green book out. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just going to help us so much because even if the green book is wrong, which is not, but just being able to commit to a line with a putter and really know which way a putt breaks makes all the difference in the world just for your conviction of hitting a putt, whether it goes in or not. But when you're unsure of which way a putt goes, it feels like you have zero chance of making it. So at least it'll give us a little bit of a baseline to work off of. But what we need to make sure of is that, I guess, the scramble day, obviously we're going to be having the same putts. The alternate shot day will be together, but the best ball day, we need to make sure that we're passing that thing off and wheeling that thing around a little bit, because I am definitely going to need that. I've played that course even less than you have. So I have no idea which direction the greens go. Maybe I actually have the advantage because I feel like the more you play those greens, the more confusing they get. Am I wrong about that?
No, like I said, I've probably played there at least 9 holes there, 50 to 75 times at this point, maybe a little less than that, 40 to 50. And I still have no clue what I feel like is going on the greens. Like, I look at a putt and I'm like, oh, I have a pretty good idea of what this does. And then I look from behind the hole, which I've really committed to doing, especially there, and saying, all right, what does it do from behind the hole? Then I get even more confused. And yesterday when I was walking and by myself and playing multiple golf balls, by the back 9, I got tired enough where I was just like, I don't really want to like take too much time to look at this putt. I don't want to keep walking in circles around the screen. I just want to go hit it. But I did get a lot of good short game putting practice in and chipping practice. And I felt like I kind of found something with the wedges around the greens. Like I was texting you last night, you can't miss in the wrong spots. And there's really everywhere is the wrong spot when you miss a lot of those greens. Even if you have a lot of green to work with, sometimes the hills are so, they're so, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just like steep and fast that you can't chip the ball close. Like there was one chip that I had where I had a lot of green to work with and I hit the chip and it like rolled right past the hole, probably, moving a couple miles an hour. Like it felt like I was like, all right, that's going to stop 2 feet from the hole. And then I turn around, I toss my wedge, I grab my putter and I go up there and it's fucking 12 feet away. And I'm like, it's insane. And on the back 9, I dialed it in and hit a few, almost chipped 2 in, had a few roll like within a foot of the hole. So I felt like I was getting that and just committing to landing it at a spot. But there was a lot of golf shots I hit where I just didn't. It's just my approach game right now is just not close. I think the closest I hit one approach shot close with a sawed off 60 degree, which yes, I do hit sawed off shots. Sawed off 60 from like 80 yards, hit that to like 8 feet on 4. And then my second closest approach shot of the day was a 239-yard 5-iron on a hole where I borderline topped my drive. And I hit that to 8 feet. And I had multiple shots from 100 to 140 yards where I'd hit. There was like 2 different shots back-to-back holes where one, I hit the same club, different yardages. The first time it was downhills 136. I hit sand wedge and it flies 10 yards over the hole. But I flagged it and I was like, oh, that's going to be right on it. Back of the green, 60-foot putt. Then the next hole, I have 136 again, but it's a little into the wind. Hit the same club, or 130-ish, hit the same club, short of the green by 10 feet. I'm like, for fuck's sake. I like, it's just my proximity to the hole is tragic.
I'm telling you, your distance control is a problem because you do not hold on. You don't saw off that finish. You don't control the ball flight on your wedges. You're always just fucking skyrocketing them way up in the air, 10 yards long, 10 yards short, fucking dial in a distance. I just thought about this. So 2 of the rounds during the member guest in the afternoon, how many dudes are going to be bitching about the greens being already played on, being bumpy? Because unless they're bringing out mowers and rollers in between the round, in between public play and the member guest round, I guarantee you all these dudes are going to be up in arms about the greens being bumpy and crispy and fucking baked out, like they're going to have an issue. If Jim Woolard is playing, he is going to have a bad time on the greens.
I don't think he is. He's not playing. Yeah, it looks like
that's a bummer.
Yeah, they have tee times in the morning from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Okay.
And then the shotgun's at 1:30. So there'll be a max of like 12 groups out there, 13 groups out there.
Got you. So
in
that's
the
not
morning
bad.
of. So not bad at all. No, the course should be pretty crispy and the greens should be just as fast and smooth as they were yesterday. I'm still not entirely used to not taking massive ball marks on the greens and taking, huge chunks out of the greens when I hit really good wedges into it. You can still get stuff to spin backwards or stop pretty quickly, but the pitch marks are like, so like we used to play soft greens where it'd be like you could land it 6 feet past the hole and expect it to just rip back right at it. This place is not like that. You pretty much got to land it at the hole or near the hole in order to get the ball to stay there, because it usually is like a one hop forward 4 or 5 feet, and then after that it just kind of sits down. It's not getting a ton of spin out there in terms of like ripping the ball backwards.
I like that because I feel like I can control my distance with my wedges. So I like when it's a good, consistent response on the greens of one hopping and stopping rather than, oh, this one rips back 40 feet, or this one you expect it to rip back 40 feet and it one hops and releases a little. Like just consistent greens, no matter if they're soft or firm or what, as long as they're the same throughout, then I'm good with that.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to playing 4 straight days. I haven't done that in, I don't know if ever, maybe. Might be my first time of playing 4 straight 18-hole rounds. So definitely looking forward to doing that and looking forward to playing with you as of right now during the middle of the practice round or maybe the middle of round 1. My feelings on that may change. But as of right now, I'm looking real forward to it.
I think we're going to be fine. I honestly, it's kind of crazy as well because we haven't done anything like this since we were 19 and 20. So we are adults at this point. And it'll be interesting to see if anything has changed, because we could just go right back to what we were as teenagers, getting pissed off, fucking arguing, all of that. Or we could just be a couple of grown adults and just have fun no matter what. If we play like shit, we play like shit. I don't think we're going to, but I think we can live with that either way.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's hop into the Nick Tarnaski situation. I'll let you kind of speak on, we talked about it a little bit. Did we post the video after last pod or was it right before last podcast?
I think
you posted the green screen?
It like Monday. I think I posted it the day after the pod, I want to say. I don't quite.
The amount of filtered comments on TikTok about people saying, fucking show the video. This is a waste of my time. What a waste of my time. Like, it's like, thanks for the pub. But I was like, I'm not going to put all these on the feed. Like, there's no point in putting the same comment on the feed 45 times.
How many comments did we end up with on that video?
Let me see. I think we were... It sucks because it's fighting, so you have to it's sensitive content. 235 comments.
Okay. So yeah, probably about a good 40 to 50 of them were where the hell is the video? I honestly think it was funnier. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, I did a green screen about that golf fight last week. And I just did it in screen grabs instead of showing the video, because what's the point in doing the video? I guess I could have commentated it and turned off the volume on the video, but I just thought it was better to get screen grabs of it. I thought it was funny. A lot of other people thought it was funny. That shit popped on TikTok. So haters, S my D from the B. You know what I'm saying? But he came out. He actually, the only interview he did was with Spittin' Chicklets, which great hockey pod. We love Chicklets. But he talked about just what was going on that kind of led him to this. So apparently this dude was trying to fight like multiple different groups. The marshal came over and tried to speed these dudes up, and he tried to fight the marshal. So and Tarnaski is apparently a member at this golf course. And so when you talked to the marshal, and the marshal said, yeah, they wanted to like fight me. They were threatening me. So then Tarnaski finally got to him, but he said it was taking like 25 minutes a hole, and it was like all twosomes and threesomes. He's like, I was just getting frustrated. Obviously, they were just wanting to tie one on, and he's like, this guy just wouldn't stop. But more what I wanted to talk about was the fact that this dude, thank God, this guy who got the shit beat out of him actually came out and apologized, made a video and said, that's on me. I was drunk. Obviously he was drunk, but I was too drunk. I acted like an idiot. And he kind of took it on the chin and owned it rather than like suing Nick Tarnasky for assault, which would be absolutely obscene. But in just true Canadian fashion, the two dudes, I mean, Tarnasky said that he's gotten like thousands of messages since it came out that it was him, like, which is awesome. But then the other guy, I feel like, is now somehow spinning this into decent pub for himself. First of all, because he took all those hits like a fucking champ and kept answering the bell. He was just kept getting up and letting his chin get absolutely fucking rocked time after time.
Alcohol is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it is. Well, and funny enough, Tarnasky during the interview, he's like, dude, they seemed like they were on bath salts or meth or some shit. He's like, they did not seem just drunk because they were just so out of it. And who knows, maybe there was some other extracurriculars mixed in. But yeah, that now the guy, I feel like, is kind of getting commended for coming out and apologizing. So I just thought that was funny as well, because there's just been so much fallout from that video. Like, I swear every podcast, like any sports podcast, has talked about that fight. Like all the sports podcasts I listen to, they've 100% mentioned it. So pretty funny that it was actually the golf course that Tarnasky is a member at, and he's just kind of like the local enforcer. And then Biz interviewed him, and he goes, what'd you shoot during that round? And I think Tarnasky said he shot like 84, and he had to take a double on the, not the hole that he beat the shit out of the guy, but the next hole, because the cops rolled up and came to talk to him. So he had to pick up, he's like, I took a double because I had to pick my ball up and go talk to the cops. And then the cops ended up on his side. They were like, yeah, we've had multiple calls about them threatening people throughout the day. They were like, what are you going to do? So they, once again, Canadian fashion, they did nothing. They were like, well, thanks for taking care of it. Basically, like, they just self-enforce up there. You don't need the cops to step in. Tarnasky just goes and feeds this dude his lunch, and the guy finally scampers off and quits threatening people on the golf course. So just a all around, the more you hear the story, the more you see it, the better it gets.
Yeah, and the fact that the guy wasn't that messed up was kind of shocking to me. I don't know how bad he actually feels inside, but just having the one black eye was pretty impressive from him. And it's also hilarious because I thought I was like, oh, cool, we may be able to get Tarnasky on our pod and see if he wants to hop on. And then he's on Chicklets 2 days later. And I'm like, well, that's fucking out the window.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, it sounded like he said that was legitimately the only interview he was going to do. And also the other great part was or maybe we did talk about this last week, because the lady who commented on it was the wife of the dude recording the video. So it was in Red Deer, Alberta, which checks out. But dude, did you know that like Red Deer like Alberta is basically very similar to Colorado?
Really?
Yeah, it's like right at the base of the Rocky Mountains, because the Rocky Mountains run all the way up north into Alberta, kind of in between British Columbia and Alberta. So they are like on the east side of the Rocky Mountains. Like it looks really pretty. I honestly kind of expected it to be Ontario, just because those guys get rowdy. But a lot of the Alberta dudes are just absolute nail guns. Like Tarnasky, all they do is fight, they play hockey and drink. That's pretty much what they do. So
sounds like a fun life. Let's transition into the Grant Horvat situation real quick. We won't talk too much about this because it's Open Championship week and we got a major to preview, and I don't want to be talking about Grant Horvat because I'm not a YouTube golf fan. There is some good YouTube golf out there. There's some funny YouTube golf out there. The Chicklets guys do a good job. Bob Does Sports does a good job. But for some reason, for me, I am just not big into it, ironically, because we do a podcast that's on YouTube. If you're on our YouTube watching right now, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. But Grant tweeted this past week, unfortunately, I will not be playing in the PGA Tour event. The rules and regulations around PGA Tour tournament play will not allow us to film. The only reason I was in the position to receive an invitation like this is because of YouTube and you all watching the videos. So if I'm going to play, we want to film it. I am hopeful that this won't always be the case. I would be honored to play in the PGA Tour event and bring you all along in the future. Huge thanks to the Barracuda for the invite and belief in YouTube golf. And then there was a lot of people on both sides of the coin. Brian Kirshner tweeted, dude, people want to see how you stack up. Not everything has to be for numbers on YouTube. Just play some golf, man. And then it says, this other comment, it's wild how short-sighted most of these replies are. Grant brings a considerable amount of value to this tournament, undoubtedly. And if the PGA Tour is in a position to return the value, then it's beyond reasonable to withhold that value. He's not just another dude trying to make a name for himself. He's made a name for himself. If he brings an audience of 1.4 million people, and that comes with a price tag, pay for it or you don't get it. It's not that complicated. What is wrong with people, dude? Like,
oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know where I fall on this. Like, I do think it would be cool if he was able to put it on his YouTube and film most of the stuff, but I'm sure there's still a considerable amount of content he'd be able to get. I understand where he's coming from, but part of me thinks part of him, there's a small part of him deep down in the bowels of his gut that's like, fuck, I'm gonna shoot 86, 90 and not make this cut. And
I thought the exact same
cry
thing
about it on my YouTube channel on Friday night when I'm not playing the weekend at the Barracuda. Like, that part of me thinks that, and part of me does think it kind of sucks that he can't film it. But at the same time, the PGA Tour is the PGA Tour. The sponsors invite is them already handing an olive branch out to you to even play in a PGA Tour event that only 0.001 of the entire golfing population will ever even sniff being able to play in. And you've done it based on just content on a fucking platform. You should just end up playing and figure it out from there and make the best content you can from, before and after the rounds, your warm up, whatever you can do. Like, be creative. You're fucking one of the most apparently creative people in the game of golf, YouTube golf. Rory, thanks what you've done for YouTube, but it's like, I just don't
that's
understand.
The ironic thing about it too, is it's not even like, I don't know. I personally, and it sounds very ass backwards, but Grant literally does nothing except for play golf on video. He doesn't really have a personality. He's a nice guy, but it's not like Bob Does Sports is funny. I enjoy, like, they kind of annoy me, but they're also funny. But at least they add something besides just watching them play golf. Literally all Grant does is what these guys do every week on TV. They just play golf and they play, like you said, the fact that he's getting an exemption is them acknowledging the fact that he's got a big following and he's not just every other scratch golfer. Like, how many other random scratch golfers are getting an invite to play in a PGA Tour event? So I agree with you. I think that there was a part of him that was like, fuck, am I really going to go fire 85 for 2 days? And then, but the odd thing about, I feel like YouTube golf, fans and commenters and shit, is it almost makes it more endearing to watch a guy like Grant shoot in the 80s for a couple days. Like, I don't really think these dudes give a shit what he shoots, which is just this psycho. Like, it is truly a cult thing, because, like, you should care about, like, how good the guy is that you're watching if you're trying to learn from him or what, like, what gives him the credentials, because he's legitimately just playing. He's not funny. Like, what does he bring to the table? Is he a good golfer? Yeah, he's a solid golfer. But like you said, it's so odd to me, just the whole thing. But then I think one of the Golf Channel guys commented on it and said something about thinking that you're entitled to videotape an entire round from the PGA Tour is absolutely absurd. And then he talks about, look at all of Bryson's YouTube videos. Does he have a single one from him playing actual live golf? No. He's got practice round stuff. He's got before round, after round. He's got off week shit, but he doesn't have actual footage of him playing the round. And he even brought up, he's like, film your warm up, film, after round thoughts and shit like that. Like, there's so much more content to be made than the actual just content of you playing golf. But if that's your entire identity is you hitting a stinger that a bunch of YouTube commenters can get a hard on from, then if that's all you bring to the table, then you don't really bring that much. But what do I know? Because the dude has fucking Callaway making clubs for him. He's got, or Tacoma, I'm sorry, free shout out, I guess. I actually have heard the Tacoma irons are very good. Have you heard anything about these?
No, I haven't.
They're
been
basically
in Tacoma circles.
We
talked about it on the pod.
Yes. So Wesley Bryan also is a part of them. And then Wesley Bryan stuck his head in and said, don't comment on YouTube golf. Like, they're treating it like it's similar to journalism. Now, the whole point of YouTube golf was to make this like lighthearted and fun. And now they're talking about YouTube golf like it's some fucking grandstand of like growing the game. And it's like, dude, just get off your fucking high horse. You have millions of followers on YouTube. Great. You're making a living off of it. That's awesome. But don't pretend like you're doing anything else other than fucking aura farming at the Barracuda. Like, you just want the videos, you want the photos, you want the views. That is literally why you're doing it. It's similar to like when everyone said, oh, Scotty doesn't play for the money. Well, what the fuck's he do? Like, why is he playing for money at all then? Be an amateur again and just win majors as an amateur. Like, there's a reason you do this shit. So that's where it got on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, and I do think the more and more this kind of stuff comes to light and this kind of stuff happens around YouTube golf. YouTube golf and actual golf are, I think, actually separate things. Like, they're not the same thing anymore. And that's what this goes to show me, is that YouTube golf and the people that watch it, just kind of like you're speaking on, is Grant good? Yes. But like, how do you think foreplay got so big? And it's more of the by the common golfer for the common golfer, which obviously, yeah, is there some part of me that's like, fuck you for being so big, and you're part of Barstool, which is obviously huge, and they have all this money behind it and can make a podcast. Yes. But like, there's a certain level of people out there that couldn't care less to watch somebody break 100 or break 90. Like, I couldn't give a fuck less about somebody breaking those scores. Now, if it's my buddy doing it for the first time and he's hyped about it, yes. But the idea that there's millions of people out there watching content to watch someone break 90, to me, is unfathomable. Now, we're in a different light of the golf world. We grew up in it. We played high school. We went to college. I went to college for it. I ended up getting a job in the golf industry. So I'm a niche person for this specific topic. But to me, like, even the guys that I love going out and playing with, and they're like, did you see this guy break 80 or break 90 finally at Rain Dance National? I'm like, who gives a fuck? I could do that. That'd be like a challenge for me to do left-handed. Like, that's kind of where I'm at.
Dude,
with some of
Rain Dance put a plaque out of where his chip was from on 18 to get up and down to break 100. Like,
oh, I know. And it's just,
what the fuck are we doing here?
And it is good pub for the course. Like, I understand that. And that's one thing that's coming out of this that's good, is a lot of golf courses are much more lenient to things like that. And they understand that, they don't need to have these hollowed grounds where nobody can videotape it. Like, there's still the Augustas out there, and there's still going to be places like that forever. But overall, golf courses are like, yeah, I mean, these people with millions of followers can come out to my place and my course and play, and everybody's going to see my golf course, and then we'll maybe get more business from it. It's smart from that aspect. And I do like that it's moving in that direction. But the overall idea of watching guys play to shoot 85 and fight for bogeys, like, it's funny when it's at a PGA Tour event and they're going out on sawgrass on the back nine and hacking it up, or going to the Open Championship or the US Open venue and shooting 102 as a 3 handicap. Like, that shit's funny. But there's a point where it's like, them showing how bad they can be is hilarious. And I can be that bad too. So I'm not like devoid of being bad and shooting 100 at Bethpage. I could do it 100%. But that's what's more interesting on a content perspective for me than a guy grinding out an 86 and being like proud of it. That's where I'm on the bad side, but I'm not on the trying to be good side of YouTube golf. And if you're trying to be good and really prove that you're good, Go play in this PGA Tour event that you got invited to. And who cares if your crew can't follow you for every single hole? Your shots are going to be on television. Like that, it's, it's different. It's a different world. So I don't want to talk anymore about the Grant Horvath situation. Kind of bothers me.
The last thing I want to say, just in general, is if any golf course is fighting for business right now or struggling for business, you're fucking doing it wrong. Because I don't think there's a single place in America where you can just walk on and easily access the tee time for a reasonable price. Like every golf course anymore is busy. So if you, excuse me, if you need a YouTube golfer to come out to your golf course to pump business, then you're fucking doing it wrong anyways. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Let's get to the Wyndham Clark situation real quick. So for those of you that haven't heard, Wyndham Clark has been 86th from Oakmont. There are a few stipulations where he can get back. I don't believe the U.S. Open's there for a little while. Wyndham may not even be on the PGA Tour at that point, so there's no need to worry about it. No, I'm just kidding. He's had a nice little showing at the Scottish Open until he crumbled on Sunday or in the final group. But overall, do you think it was worth him being banned? Like, he can pay, he's got to pay for the damages. I think he's got to go do anger management classes. Like, you think the punishment was fair there? Do you think it's do you think they overreacted? And do you think the punishment, because we saw when this came out, I believe was it Patty Harrington or Lee Westwood? Somebody said that they'd seen somebody do this to the lockers, but now with social media, that was all over social media. And so Oakmont knows that people know this happened and they can't keep it in-house. So I feel like PGA Tour had to dole out some punishment. Do you kind of fall in that same line of they doled out the right punishment kind of because they had to, or else it's just a bad look to the public?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, reprimand the guy for his actions. Like you said, everybody knows what he did, and just the fact that he didn't come out and vehemently apologize and do something as reparations for what he did to the locker room is pretty bananas in the first place. Like, you gotta really sit back and think about why he did it. And, the fact that he has not come out and apologize is pretty wild. I guess he did apologize, but it did not seem that genuine. And yeah, so I have no problem with them doing it. If he's 86, he's 86. Like, that's just something that you live with. If you can't turn around your public image and donate to a charity and all that shit, then you don't deserve to play on that golf course. Like, and to be fair, Ian Poulter said that it was temporary or it was Graham McDowell, I'm sorry, that came out and tweeted about it. But he also said it was temporary lockers that he had seen get destroyed. Now, to actually destroy the property of the actual golf course that you're playing at is a totally different deal. So I can see why they did what they did 100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for Wyndham, it's a laundry list of these things happening in the past couple of months, to where I feel like finally at an Open Championship historic venue, they had to kind of put their foot down.
US Open, but yes.
Yes, US Open venue. Exactly. Yeah. Mine's too on the Open Championship. Before we get to that, we got a few more things to hit real quick. Neil Shipley, king of the Corn Ferry Tour, wins this week the Ascendant presented by Blue here in Colorado. We've been to it a few times. 7 shots down on Sunday and comes back and wins it on the 18th with I made like a 20+ footer to win the tournament. Neil Shipley is he's such an interesting case to me because he's so good on the Corn Ferry Tour. And it's like every Corn Ferry Tour event he enters, you feel like he's got a really good shot to win it, if not one of the favorites. And then he gets on the PGA Tour and he's had a few runs, I think it was at the US Open 2 years ago. He was the low am at the Masters, I want to say, and got on full swing. So he's definitely part of the PGA Tour and their current story. But I feel like he's in this weird thing where he's so not competitive in PGA Tour events week over week. But he's going to dominate the Corn Ferry Tour and be in the top in points without even playing on it a ton. It's not like he plays there every single week. He's playing tour events. He's playing some majors. Then he's playing back to the Corn Ferry Tour. So shout out to Neil Shipley for winning in Colorado. I want to know what it's like for the guys to come and play here, because we know how different it is. You talked about it. We were talking about it not 20 minutes ago before the pod started about you living in New Jersey now and having to get back to your Colorado yardages and get comfortable with the yardages at altitude. So it is funny to see these PGA Tour or Korn Ferry Tour guys, if you will, come to Colorado and play a week of completely different golf and different yardages, and everything in their bags change. But cool to see Neil Shipley take one home at the Ascendant.
Yeah. So I actually just looked. They played it at over 8,000 yards this year. And the dude still fired 18 under par for 4 days. Like, it is still probably one of the lower scoring events on the entire Korn Ferry Tour, and they're playing it at over 8,000 yards. So that's absolutely disgusting. But I do think there's an element to Shipley still being a younger dude. I think getting these wins on the Korn Ferry Tour, getting 2 wins, that all but kind of secures his PGA Tour card for next season. But just the experience on the Korn Ferry before just jumping to the PGA Tour is very, God, I don't know what's going on. Got a little frog in my throat. Is very beneficial for him in order to just get the experience and get comfortable. Honestly, the guy is just such a beauty. Like, I'm looking at his picture right now, and he looks like a middle-aged woman. Like, it's hilarious. The hair, and honestly, you look at his face and you're like, this dude's got to be big, like chunky. He's actually relatively thin. Like, I don't know. He's just got that face where you're like, and I don't know if maybe it's the hair. Maybe if he cut the hair, his face would look a little skinnier. But I love watching the guy. Like, I think he is truly one of those dudes that he was electric at the US Amateur a couple years ago. That's kind of where he, burst onto the national scene. But I think there is a group of people that would really enjoy watching him play on a week in, week out basis on the PGA Tour. Like, I can personally say if Neil Shipley was playing in a random ESPN Plus bullshit group on a Thursday morning at the John Deere, I would tune into that. Like, I think he's worth watching. I think his game is fun. He's a great putter. He drives it really well. So I think he could be really good for the game, just in the way of they did a whole fucking Golf Channel solo thing on him, and he's not even on the PGA Tour. He wasn't even in the US Open, and they did a whole story about him being a member at Oakmont and how he used to caddy out there. So he just seems like a really likable dude, and I would absolutely love to see more of him, hopefully in years to come on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and speaking of PGA Tour / DP World Tour wins this past weekend, just want to give a quick shout out to Chris Goddard for staring Rory McIlroy in the face, being in the final round with him. I gave him zero chance on Sunday morning. I'll be completely honest. I thought, watching him on Saturday make bogey when he had the lead on 1 after shooting such a good round Friday, and then he goes out and shoots a final round 66, beats Rory, beats Wyndham, holds off Matt Fitzpatrick, like all these major champions just staring him right in the face at one of the more premier tournaments. Obviously, you looked at the leaderboard and all the names on it, the O'Bears that were up there, the Harry Halls for a little bit, fuck that guy, and just all the good players in that Scottish Open, everybody getting prepared for the Open Championship. And he played his way into the Open Championship. Now he's going to be on tour for another couple of years. Like, really cool story of a dude that just fucking moves it. And I remember watching him at the Ascendant by Blue when we were up in Windsor a couple of years ago, and just watching him play, and was like, that's kind of a name that I'd followed and heard, but not paid too much attention to. And all of a sudden he comes kind of out of nowhere at 90-1 odds and wins the Scottish Open, where, he has obviously he's a great player, but that doesn't feel like the tournament that kind of guy wins. Feels like the John Deere or something is more what that guy would win with his distance and all of that, versus a more linksy style golf course. But just playing with Rory and Wyndham and going out and shooting 66 and winning and basically stomping on Rory when he's already been a champion there was honestly pretty unbelievable for me to see. I did not expect that.
I totally agree, but that just goes to show you, like, Goddard is one of the longest players on tour. But when you have a guy that hits it that far, when he puts it all together, his good is that good. Like you said, I did not expect a player of that caliber. Not saying he's not good. Obviously, he's very good, but he's not a top tier guy on the PGA Tour or DP World Tour by any means. for him to go out and win, it just goes to show you how deep these fields are. When a guy that, hasn't had a great season, he won an opposite field event last year. And for him to come out and, like you said, own Rory McIlroy in on his home continent, with this prep for the British Open or the Open Championship. Fuck, that was the first time I messed that up. But just the fact that he could go out and beat all those guys goes to show you how high a lot of these dudes' ceilings are when they put it all together. Because I guess Gotterup had really struggled with the putter this year, and he was nails inside of 10 feet, I think, the entire week this week. So that, if he's making putts inside of 10 feet, and especially on these firm of golf courses, these dudes are hitting driver 370, 380, 400 yards. They're turning 600-yard par fives into a fucking driver 7-iron. So for a guy that hits it that long, if he's got his short game dialed in, it makes sense. But I definitely did not have it on my bingo card. And I will say as well, he's from New Jersey. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's a cool story. I think he's a member at like one of the most expensive clubs in all of New Jersey. Very exclusive, very high-end spot. He's from a pretty wealthy area. So it's definitely not some humble story. Yeah, and I hate to, fucking poo-poo on it because it is a cool story. But it's like the dude's, I think he's a member at Rumson Country Club, which is very, very high-end. He's from like down the shore in this area where it's just a bunch of rich-ass people. So it is still very cool, though, to see him. Like, he lost it on the post-round interview, which was cool just because he's had a lot of people believe in him. And I will say that he played 4 years at Rutgers. Like, how many dudes are winning on the PGA Tour that played 4 years at Rutgers? Like, he did play 1 year at Oklahoma. He took a COVID year, and then he was like the national player of the year at Oklahoma. So definitely kind of came up pretty quick. But I will say as well, it was funny because he does look like a lot of like Jersey Shore white dudes. Like, he had the gold chain on, the facial hair, the haircut. He definitely looks Jersey rich white guy. Like, that's just kind of the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, I thought he was more country, and then I heard the Jersey stuff and saw the chain under the shirt and the unzipped or unbuttoned shirt and the big chain. I was like, oh, this. I'm sorry, sir. I was not familiar with your game.
What if Rory chain snatched him on 18? Just hit him with the Aqib Talib, fucking rip that shit right off him. But Rory was very gracious in his loss. He gave Chris Gotterup a round of applause on the 18th green when he finished up. I don't know if you saw that. And then when they were sitting in the scoring tent, Gotterup was signing his card, and Rory was giving him some pats on the arm. So it doesn't look like Rory was near as salty about losing. Maybe he's now learning to not win with some grace. That's instead of just speeding off in that courtesy car, he kind of hung around, signed the card, gave Gotterup his daps, and maybe Rory's turning a corner. Who knows?
Yeah, well, maybe Rory can turn the corner and win another major this year at the 2025 Open Championship. Let's get into our preview of this final major of 2025. Do you want to start out with the weather report? Should we just hop right into it? Because we've got this here, and it's very proper, a very proper week in Ireland for the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. If you'll remember, this tournament was played here in 2019, Shane Lowry winning it. And full disclosure, I made the graphic, which you'll see of our picks here in a few minutes. And I had Shane Lowry on that, and I took him off. So the bets are still in for Shane Lowry to win this and to top 10 this, full disclosure. But I did take Shano off the card and put in somebody else last minute. So I hope that doesn't come back to haunt me. It might, but I also just don't want to see him struggle on a Sunday again. I've done it too many times. So I'll hand it over to you.
Hello, everyone. Weather in Royal Portrush this week is going to be in the mid-60s, rainy, proper British weather, proper Irish weather. I don't know if this is an Irish accent or a British one. I assume it's British. But Thursday, 60s, 80% chance. Friday, 60s, 80% chance. Repeat over the weekend. And we will see who is hoisting the claret jug come Sunday in Royal Portrush, Rory McIlroy's home course of Northern Ireland. Back to you in the studio.
Very well done. Very well done. We stayed
Stayed
Irish throughout.
Didn't go Australian, didn't go
No.
South African, didn't go Indian. My
Didn't get to
accents
the
are-
Borat.
Don't run for me. High 60s, 80% chance of rain.
High 60s, same thing. 60s every day, 80% chance of rain every day. Proper Irish tournament.
I even feel like towards the end there, you even dipped out of the Borat accent and more into like some sort of Middle Eastern accent. But accents are hard. I want to bring somebody on that's really good at accents just to give us a weather report.
Yeah, we can just give a bunch of different areas and just do weather reports for a bunch of random places in America and around the world.
Yeah, let's talk impressions.
Let's talk a little bit about the pairings. So some really good pairings. Once again, this is kind of fun because it's so early in the morning that you get golf right when you wake up. But having the whole afternoon off and not being able to sit on the couch on a weekend afternoon and watch golf is kind of lame. So here are some of the featured groups from the PGA Tour. The early and then late windows, we've got Xander, JJ, and John Rahm, Shane Lowry, Colin Morikawa, and Scotty Scheffler, Robbie Mack, Bryson DeChambeau, and Justin Rose. That is by far my favorite pairing of the first 2 days. If there's a featured group on that, that's where I will be. Jordan Spieth, Ludwig Aubert, and Viktor Hovland, and then Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Tommy Fleetwood. These are the featured groups from PGA Tour on Twitter. Gun to your head. Let's water gun to your head. Is the winner on this graphic that we're currently showing, which is all the names I just named. If you're listening to this, the audio version of this, I just named all of the featured groups that we saw from the PGA Tour tweet. Is the winner from this group of 15 guys?
I am going to say no. I am going to have a hot take because I did not see my guy who I am rolling with this week on that list. He's probably in that next tier of tee times. It's not just the top featured ones, but he's probably right there. I'm going to hold off on it. I'm going to wait till our gambling picks to give you that. But all of those groups look like fun. I honestly am most intrigued by the Hovland, Aubert, Spieth grouping because Spieth is honestly alarmingly good at links golf for how rough his career has been like the last 8-9 years. He always plays well over there, probably because he can drive it all over God's green earth and somehow find it and hit it again. His driving is just fucking god awful. And it feels like he putts these greens very well. I remember when he won the Open, that famous driver that he hit over onto the driving range and then he hit hybrid to like fucking, I want to say like 20 feet or something, just an unbelievable shot. But there is a lot of different guys. I feel like John Rahm could win this week. He plays links golf well. There's Viktor Hovland. He's one of my picks this week. I think he's very good because this golf course is being described as like, if you're just a premier ball striker, you're going to have a better chance out here because a lot of the greens look challenging, a lot of runoff areas. You got to hit the greens. You got to hit the right spot. But then, I think there's some potential for a guy with a really good short game. If you're putting it really well inside of 10 feet, you're getting it up and down from anywhere. There's a chance for some other not as likely guys to win. And just the weather factor, Americans are not as used to playing in this type of weather. So I definitely give the European guys an edge there. Like Bobby McIntyre is a classic, great links player. Grew up in this type of weather. And who knows, could Tommy Fleetwood win a major before he wins a PGA Tour event? I don't think so, but the betting odds every week still have him in the top 15 guys, regardless of, what he finished the week before or the last 5 years. So,
well, there's a cult out there that they have to be betting on Tommy Fleetwood when he finally gets his first win on the PGA Tour. Like it's like an auto bet. I am assuming there's a group probably from England, probably from where he's from too, but there's a group of people out there that believe and will be stoked when they can say that they were on the first Tommy Fleetwood win. Speaking of your boy Tyrrell, Minwoo Lee, Tyrrell Hatton, and Russell Henley, great group there. Russell Henley's a guy I left on my cutting room floor for betting wise, but Russell Henley obviously just always competing. I don't know if he can win this Open Championship, but it wouldn't surprise me if we're talking about him on Saturday and Sunday. And by far my favorite group, I was going through the pairings. New favorite group just dropped. Sam Burns, Aldrich Potgieter, and Brooks Koepka. What an electric factory that group is.
That will be a very good one. Brooks has struggled mightily in the majors since his win and his last win in, was it 2019 or 2020? So I don't expect him. I don't expect much from him, but he says he's quote unquote very close. I mean, every PGA Tour player thinks they're very close at all times. So we'll see. But then, yeah, Potgieter just absolutely bombs it. I don't see a world in where he can't compete unless his wedge game is just dog shit, which it could be. You know, that with how long he hits it, it's kind of surprising he's not competing every week. But that's just the nature of golf. You're not going to be good every single week. And then Sam Burns, you know, can he fucking get over the hump and quit choking away golf tournaments? Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked to see him in contention, but I would be shocked to see him win it because every time he's near the top of the leaderboard, it feels like something's going to go wrong for him. So,
yeah. And you sent me this morning. I want to touch on this. I got another little graphic made. I was on my graphic game. This is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. And I know you wanted to touch on this. So this is one of the drop zones for the Open Championship this week. And take a look at that and where they make you drop. And so basically, I thought this was fake at first. So you can kind of explain to us what that's deterring or why that drop zone is the way it is. But this is one of the more incredible photos I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they're deterring players from doing is just blowing it into the grandstands and getting a generous free drop from it. So I think it is pretty genius because how many times have we been like, oh my God, these guys are just getting off so easily with, you know, where they are able to drop it when they blow one into the grandstands on purpose. So I think it's really going to hold these guys back from aiming at those grandstands, trying to hit it up there when they see this drop zone and realize that it's in the middle of a literal like bush, which with the rough, you know, 4 or 5 inches long, I don't think they're going to be wanting to drop in that area. So I do love that. Like, do not give these guys an easy way out in the drop zone. That's electric.
Yeah, and just like having this basically area where your feet can fit and a ball can fit, and that's all that you have in the area. And you've long been a grandstand hater, and maybe this will do some deterring of them just blowing it into the grandstands. Another thing we wanted to talk about this week, obviously the golf course in Ireland. Shane Lowry won here in 2019, as I had mentioned, but the golf course has some interesting drinks that you also sent me. And what's funny is I was reading the either Golf Digest or something last night because they did an Open Championship little preview in it. They talked about Xander Schauffele talking about him winning 2 majors last year and how he finally broke through, and did a little preview on the course. But as I was flipping through the magazine, there was an entire article dedicated to the difference of drinking in American golf versus European golf. And how, like, in American golf, it's almost guaranteed that when you go out and play, and especially if you're playing like a bachelor party or a destination course, they were talking in the article about how drones will fly you out your drinks, and there's some courses where you can pay for a bev cart to just follow you around the entire day. Like, that's how up. And then when you go to Europe, and you've been, so you can kind of speak on it from a personal view, they don't drink as much. They drink before and they drink after, but there's not a ton of drinking on the golf course. And I think they said a lot of that is attributed to the weather. You're not necessarily wanting to drink when it's kind of colder, windy, you've got jackets on, you know, you're more just drinking water, trying to survive out there. And also just the fact that a lot of the golf played in Europe is walking, and you're trying to keep, you're not out there for a hit and giggle, even though you're playing one of the most premier places that you've ever played in your life, in like a St. Andrews or all the places that you've gotten to play. They give a shit that you're having the time of your life, but they're also like, hey, have the time of your life in 4 hours. You're not making it in 5 hours.
Yeah, they definitely take their on-course golf a lot more serious in like a proper way. So I can see why their custom drinks are like warm coffees and, you know, mochas and shit instead of like mixed cocktails. But yeah, I definitely think that the culture around drinking. And so the culture around drinking on the golf course is just completely different than America, which I kind of do enjoy. But we have the Lowry latte, which I bet they make a really good latte over there. The Fleetwood frappe, honeycomb frappe sounds pretty gas. And then the Rory McIlroy, a smooth blend of coffee and chocolate. The
matcha. That's
I didn't
pretty
even
smart.
okay.
I was trying to figure it out, and I just did in about 2 seconds. I was like, "What is that?" And
I know
Colin being a winner of the Open Championship a couple of years ago, they had to give him some love. But other than that, it's all love to the Englishman.
Yeah, I did not even put 2 and 2 together with that matcha name there. Have you ever had matcha?
Yeah, it's not bad. I've had it a few times. There's like a new drink at Starbucks that's matcha, and it's not terrible. It's not my favorite thing, but I just like trying all the fruity drinks. So anything that says oat milk and has I've tried, there's like a lavender that they did at Starbucks. Terrible. Tastes like you're drinking a fucking essential oil.
I tried that and love the smell of lavender. Don't love the taste of it. Really not for me.
Same here.
But yeah, the drinking culture, oddly enough, so you tell me, would you rather drink when it's like 60s and kind of chilly or 90s? Because I would personally rather drink when it's like chilly. I feel like it's warming me up inside. I'm not sweating my ass off. Like I do not want to drink when it's in the 90s because I can't get, I won't feel it because I'll just sweat it right out. And it's not hydrating you at all. So I would honestly rather drink when it's cooler than when it's hotter.
When I'm on the golf course, I'd like to drink anything at any time, but to me, it's more of what I'm drinking. Like if it's colder and windy, I have a jacket on, I'm probably drinking more of a whiskey. But if it's hotter, I'm maybe drinking more of a vodka or a High Noon or something like that. And then beer is always kind of good on the golf course, cold or hot. But at the same time, it's just, down in a bunch of Coors Lights after each other is like just kind of a golf course tradition for me at least. And so those can kind of go anytime, but I think it's more of just what I'm drinking depending upon the weather.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Do we want to give our picks and then we'll get into What the Fuck Wednesday as we do every single Wednesday? Let's drop our picks in here. For those of you listening to the audio version, we'll go through them really quick, but our official big bet energy picks for the 2025 Open Championship at Royal Portrush. All right. I've got Jon Rahm, Jason Day, and Justin Rose, the 3 J's. Full disclosure, as I said earlier, I swapped out Shane Lowry for Jason Day as I was making this graphic. So had a little change of heart. Shane Lowry's still on the actual bet slip. But I've got Jon Rahm. I think, he's boosted on DraftKings, so you can get him at plus 14, 16 to win. They have a mystery boost. I got like 18%, I want to say. So I boosted him to win. He's plus 110 to be in the top 10. Jason Day plus 10,000 to win and plus 500 to top 10. So a little bit more of a longer shot. And then Justin Rose, after his showing at the Masters, he's always kind of competing in these events and you feel like he's done and he just shows up again. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rosie competing here on a Sunday. He is plus 7,000 to win and plus 550 for the top 10.
I like that. Okay. The triple J's. So I'm rolling Tyrrell, Hatton, Robert McIntyre, Viktor, Hovland. All these guys are in the 3,000 to 4,500 plus 3,000 to plus 4,500 range to win. I just feel like Tyrrell's going to win a major. He's gotten very close multiple times. He's competed. I feel like he's finally ready to get over that hump. He's plus 3,000 to win, plus 250 top 10. Bobby Mack won last year's Scottish Open. He's clearly a links golf guy. I think he's also primed to get one done, and it would just be cinema to see him win a major, a British Open, an Open Championship. There we go. And Viktor Hovland, he's just been hitting his irons really well lately. One of the best iron players on tour, kind of similar to Colin Morikawa. Doesn't drive it insanely well. Nothing else is that good, but the irons are just so freaking good that if he's dialed in, he's just going to be throwing darts all week. And I do like what I saw from Viktor last week as well. So hopefully he's trending in the right direction. And I think he's able to possibly get it done this week too. So
Love it. Well, one of those 6 hopefully going on to win the Open Championship. I'm so excited to get up early and watch it. I love being able to wake up stupid early and get on the couch and have it muted. And I also love, we got a little bit of it when it was on the Golf Channel last week. And then, of course, Nance is great at what he does, no doubt. But hearing the commentators from England or Ireland or wherever just make it all that much better for the Scottish Open and then the Open Championship. All right, let's wrap this pod up with a little What the Fuck Wednesday, as we always do on every single Wednesday edition of Big Drive Energy. I'll start. It's just annoying. I keep fucking my hands up every which way that I can. I keep scraping them, cutting them. I currently have about 5 to 6 different scrapes on my hands in different places that just hurt enough to where, like, when I'm gripping the golf club, I'm like, this is annoying, and I can feel it. But yeah, so hopefully I'm going to try to keep my hands clean.
I was going to say, keep
them good to
put
go
your
for the
hands
next
in
week.
Bubble wrap for this week.
I'll put my gloves on. I got a nice pair of gloves in my car. I'll put those on and wear those for the rest of the week. But yeah, just little random scrapes and cuts every time I'm either cutting vegetables or I'm putting my hand in somewhere and pull it out. And it's annoying. Like, it's just getting me.
Funny enough, Missy and I were watching the show Quarterback last night, and it was showing Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins warming up, and how like a coach stands next to them or somebody and catches the ball and then hands it to them so they can throw it. She's like, why don't they just catch it? And I'm like, do you understand how important their hands are to their job? Like, this dude's making $40 million. And if his finger gets jammed, he's out for 2 weeks. Like, your hands matter so much. But it's just one of those things where you don't think about it daily until you hurt yourself. And then you're like, God, I would give anything for my hand to not hurt. So I totally feel you there. My What the Fuck Wednesday is just the drivers in New Jersey are just out of control. For the most part, people, New Jersey's known for having aggressive drivers. But then you just get one car every time you're on the highway that's swerving in and out of traffic, going fucking crazy. And I'm like, when are they ever going to get into an accident? And so one of our friends a couple days ago, this dude was probably doing 80 or 90, swerving in and out of traffic, fucking has nowhere to go, hits this car in between hits our friend's car so hard that it completely rips the front right wheel off the car. And it wasn't even the speeding car that hit his car. That's how fast and hard he hit this other car. So the dude, our buddy Joe, had to like fucking rip his wheel over, try to get to the fucking, what's it called on the side of the road? I'm having a brain fart.
The median or
now
I can't think
the
of
shoulder.
What
the
it's
shoulder.
shoulder.
He was trying to get over to the shoulder on literally 3 wheels. Like, he hit his head. I think that person's going to jail for fucking reckless driving, but you just see it all the time out here. And I always wondered when I was going to see one of those accidents, and I didn't get to see it. And I'm not saying I wanted to see it, but I just, it's got to happen eventually, because these dudes drive like fucking maniacs out here. It's always some riced out. Well, I don't know if I can say that, some Honda Civic or Nissan Altima that you can hear coming from a mile away. It's like, and you're like, oh, is this like a sick like Lambo or some shit? And it's just a piece of shit 05 Altima that's going 85 down the highway, swerving in and out of traffic. So,
like I said, man, the worst cars are always the worst drivers.
They got nothing to lose. They don't give a shit.
And you got people in Teslas that can fly by everyone at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they're sitting in the right lane going 2 under the speed limit.
I don't want to burn that battery.
Yeah, that's me, I'll admit. But
hand up.
Hand up, that's me. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in to this Wednesday edition of Big Drive Energy, our final open and major preview of 2025. Of course, we still have the Ryder Cup, a lot of fun stuff coming up. We will be live on Sunday at some point, depending upon the tee times, both of our schedules. Hopefully, we'll catch it down the stretch. Might be just a little recap afterwards to crown our final major champion of 2025 and see who hoists the claret jug at Royal Portrush. We appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure to follow us on all the socials at Big Drive Energy Golf on Instagram. We are part of the Golfer Gang Network. Go check them out. A lot of cool, fun golf podcasts on there, including your boys, from Big Drive Energy. Have a great weekend. Get some early rest. Wake up early. Watch that Open Championship because it will be worth the wait. We will talk to you guys on Sunday. Peace.